I'm hot. You're so serious. Okay. Hello. It's Kiyarii. Yeah. I was gonna say, oh, hello. Okay. So yes, I went interesting things later recently. I went to a movie night with my old physics teacher from high school. And it's not just me, I'm not like the only person that goes back. There's other people from college who go and visit him because he's cool and he always has these fun little movie nights with quirky movies. I'm just gonna talk about this one. Like, I'm not gonna suggest you see it just because the characters were kind of bleh. Like, the girl was really like hollow and just jealous and annoying, kind of like annoying female characteristics. And the guy was really derpy. But the whole is like a romantic comedy sci-fi thing. But it was a little bit more interesting just in that it's supposed to be that he's like 400 years from the future. Ooh. And he came back in time to like save her because he knows she's going to die or something. And normally you can't do that, but for some reason there's some way around it because if you have a very emotional moment, it'll create a parallel universe in which, like, I don't know, somehow that's now possible. Anyways, but beside all that, what made the movie kind of fun though is that the whole time you're kind of going back and forth between guessing whether he's telling the truth and he is from the future. Like, he's very quirky, like he doesn't know the names of like, because in the future there's no vegetation, so he gives her like carnations. He's like, here's some roses or whatever, and it's like, oh ha ha, whatever. Or he calls like an asparagus a pickle or something, and it's like supposed to be funny but it's just kind of derpy. And other things too, and like he's very into like the smells of everything because it's like new and whatever. But then supposedly, so the whole story is supposed to be the girl talking to her therapist, and then it goes into like story mode. And the therapist suggests that this guy, well, she talks to her friend about it. The friend thinks that it's some game he's playing. She talks to her therapist. Her therapist thinks that it's he has some form of like mini seizures that makes him go into these fanciful delusions, and where also like it makes you have really intense sensations, so that's why he's into the smells and all the new sights and things or whatever. Anyways, but then he's claiming he's from the future or whatever. But yeah, so it was kind of like, oh, what do you think it is? And then if you like kind of meta like analyze it, you're like, oh, well, he is from the future because that's what movies do, because movies aren't real and that can happen or whatever, and that's what they kind of tend to go towards. But the one scene I really liked was at first she goes along with it because she's like thinks it's a game and it is kind of like fun to pretend to go along with it, but then it kind of like gets too much for her or whatever, just all these little things that he claims. So she sends him to her therapist, and then the therapist claims then that, okay, so all back travelers are given a new name because really their name is in binary in the future. Stupid. Binary in the future. So his name is Sam Deed, so it's always 3 letters and then 4 letters. And then the therapist gave the girl her name, which was a different name, but then when the therapist gave her name to the guy, she said that her name was Meg Ford, so that's the 3-4 again, and that she was a back traveler. And then I'm in the room with a bunch of other little like high school students and like some college people, and everyone's like, oh, like whatever, like but really that doesn't tell you anything, because I was like, because the therapist could have also been just like being a therapist and like role playing with him, saying like, oh yeah, I'm one too, and then kind of like talking to him on his level or whatever. So I thought that was a cool little scene where it's like, oh, that doesn't really tell you anything yet either. Anyways, and then also in the credits, I guess, instead of giving her name, it just writes therapist, which I thought was kind of cool, because it's like, oh. But they still ruined it, because in the end they made it that because he did, like, know the day that she was going to die. Oh, yeah, he knew the day she was going to die, and where she was going to die, and who was going to kill her, so he knew all these things. And he did, like, save her, and then I guess through, like, something, I don't know, whatever, he saved her. By creating a parallel universe with emotion, with love. I don't know. So, I don't know. Then it just turned into a regular American, I assume it's American movie, where it's like happy ending and flowers and whatever. But it would have been so much more interesting, like everything that happened, if it was like that he was crazy and that the therapist was just like role playing with him, and that all these other things were just like in his wallet or whatever, he had pictures of like his parents and his sister or whatever, but she had found in the store in like there's picture frames with stock photos, and it was the same pictures. So it's like if he had really, and then he's like, oh, it's because the people I paid to back travel were really cheap, so they made me really cheap, like, identity things or whatever. But it'd be more interesting if he, like, I don't know, just if he did that, and if all these little things that he did, and he's just crazy. I don't know. So that was that movie. So I was gonna ask you guys if you know any such, because I liked the ideas, I just didn't like how it was done, and I didn't like the people in it. But some sort of movie that has, I don't know, playing with reality, like what's real, what's not, and also like characters that are either highly intelligent or just like off in the head a bit. I kind of like watching movies like that. So if you know something like that, recommend that to me. But a real recommendation, I might have already recommended this to you guys, I'm not sure, but Dancer in the Dark, which I haven't seen in a while, but it was like the last movie that really affected me. Kind of talks a lot about selflessness, but it's so much to the point where is it going too far to be that selfless? I don't know. So it's very interesting, very powerful, and very. It has Bjork in it. It's lovely. I quite like her. But yeah, and just like, I forget some of the beginning parts, but just like the last like 10-15 minutes of that movie is just like forever. Like, I will not forget. I don't know, just like, I had to pause it in the middle of it because I just like couldn't take. Just like certain things that she says just like resonate so well with me, and I just like can imagine. I mean, I'm not really saying anything because I don't want to talk about it, but like it's good. It's very good. So you should watch that. Tell me what you think. Yes. Okay, so movies, hooray. I'm going to go run and do some errands, but have a lovely day, everyone. Movies, Hollywoodness. It wasn't even like a Hollywood movie, it was like some indie movie, but it still did the same like Hollywood ending. I don't know. Give me movies, recommend me things that are real and cool. I don't know. We'll see. Yep, okay. Alright, have a good day. Bye.